Alright. This is the season for reason, and today I'm going to be talking about charity. Let's start in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And let's read through the whole thing. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. Now, let's turn over to Matthew chapter 5, and let's look at verse 38, and we'll move on from there. Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you, and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Now let's go back to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Let's look at verse 10 again. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. And back in Matthew chapter 5 it says, Be therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. In Matthew chapter 5, in verses 38 through 48, it's talking about loving your enemies and turning the other cheek. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it's talking about charity. Now, to me, they sound very similar in the idea behind them. Because you look right here in verse 7 in chapter 13, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. When it's talking about loving your enemies and all the things you're doing here, it says, Whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. Give to him that asketh thee, from him that would borrow of thee, turn thou not away. That sounds like bearing a burden and enduring. There's a lot of things that people are not willing to endure these days. So they get themselves some appliances that will help them not have to do any work. People get microwaves because it's convenient for them. They don't want to have to do any work to get their food. Well, that's good that a microwave can make things more convenient for you. It's made us lazy so that if someone needs help from us, we won't lift our finger. We should have our conveniences so that we can make things convenient for other people. So that we have our time freed up so that we can help other people who have problems with their life. As a Christian, we shouldn't be seeking convenience for ourselves. We should be seeking convenience for other people. We shouldn't be trying to make our own lives easier. We should be trying to make things easier for other people. If our goal is only to make ourselves have convenience and all the fancy things in life and all the good things in life just for us, our goal is the wrong thing. We're trying to get rich and fat and happy. And that's not what the Bible teaches should be our goal. Our goal should be to help others and to serve God. To get truth out to the world so that they can understand the love that God has for us all. If we're constantly trying to get our way, if someone sues us for something we didn't do, we automatically want to defend our case and sue them back, instead of trying to make things right and trying to show love to that person. We try to get our own way and get our own advantage over everyone else. If someone offends us, we want to offend them back. But that's not what Jesus teaches. He teaches, if someone smites you on the one cheek, turn to him also the other. It even says, give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn thou not away. Even people who are asking you for something, Jesus tells you, don't tell them no. Basically is what he's saying. Now there's instances where you should tell them no. If they're asking you for drugs, don't give them drugs. If they're asking you for something bad, like alcohol or something like that, don't give it to them. Just use some common sense. But if they're asking for something that's good, something that they need, don't turn them away. Now you can do this in a smart way. If the person looks like they aren't really asking you for something so they can, they're just asking you for money so they can take it and go buy some drugs for themselves somewhere else, don't give them the money. What you need to do is go buy the thing that they said they needed for them. Don't give them the money directly. Give them what they said they wanted, not the money to get it. Because people lie. But if someone's asking you for something and they genuinely need it, the good thing to do is to go and get it for them. If you have it in your power, of course. Now, in verse 43 of Matthew chapter 5, it says, "Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. And then in verse 44 it says, But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." And in verse 45, "That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust." If someone does you a bad turn, don't do them a bad turn just because they did you one. Don't give evil for evil, but give good to everyone, because God gives good to everyone, because he is good. If you're going to be good, you have to give good gifts to everyone, not just the ones that you like or the ones that like you. If you're going to truly love your enemies, you're going to have to grasp a couple of concepts. One of these concepts is that if you're going to be a loving person and a kind person, you're going to have to give up some of your own comfort for someone else. And sometimes you're going to have to take some punishment for things that you didn't do, or punishment for things you did do which weren't wrong, and take it with grace and still be loving and kind to people, because sometimes there's some people out there who are going to be mean, they're going to be heartless and thoughtless, and you're going to have to be the one who's thoughtful and who has a good heart in the situation, because if you don't do it, if the other person's not a Christian and they're basically your enemy, they're not going to be the one who's going to step up to the plate and start doing good. You're going to have to do it yourself. In First Corinthians chapter 13, and in verse 8 it says, "Charity never faileth." Let's continue reading the rest of the verse. "But whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away." It mentions all those things, prophecy, knowledge, all those things. And it says that none of those things will endure forever, but charity is not going to fail. It's going to keep on going. It's going to keep on keeping on. Charity is not going to stop. It's not going to give up. Charity will never, ever give in. Charity isn't going to puff itself up and always look for its own way either. People think that in order to be successful in this world, you gotta speak up, have your own way, be the authority in the room, no matter who's actually in charge. You gotta just push your ideas above everybody else's, get your way. But that's not the way that God wants us to go if we're going to be successful Christians. Being successful in the world is different than being successful as a Christian. If you're going to be successful in the world, then maybe taking that path is the path for you. But if you're going to be a successful Christian, you got to take a different path, the path of charity. And that's all for today.